Hi, the SI meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Friday, February 15th. A lot going on in the world of weather and also some astronomical news this morning. Have kind of a cosmic coincidence going on today. This afternoon there will be a very close approach in terms of the cosmos of an asteroid some 17,000 miles away. That's actually closer to the Earth than some geosynchronous weather satellites which orbit above the Earth about 22,500 miles. This asteroid reaches its closest approach to the Earth about 2:24 this afternoon. Apparently it will not be visible during the daytime viewing conditions, and apparently will not do any damage to weather satellites or any other satellites such as GPS or communication satellites. And in addition to this asteroid, we actually had a meteorite shower this morning that over the Ural mountain region of Russia that caused some damage to a large number of buildings, and hundreds of people were injured, mostly with flying and broken glass from the damage to the buildings. This occurred some 900 miles east of Moscow, apparently completely unrelated to the afternoon asteroid, making a close approach, but a lot going on. The importance of the asteroid is it's actually the closest approach of any tracked object of this size that we've had up till now. So kind of an interesting day going on in the world of astronomy. And it'll be a very interesting weekend going on in terms of meteorology here back on Earth in the eastern U.S., especially in the mid-Atlantic and northeastern part of the country, with not one but two snow events possible. Here's the very latest surface map. A cold frontal system now working its way toward the East Coast, actually secondary front as well. They'll kind of combine into one front as colder air starts to pour into the eastern part of the country. Wave of low pressure will develop along this front later on today, and that should spread some rain into the mid-Atlantic region early tonight, and then that should change over to snow as colder air starts to filter in late tonight into tomorrow morning. This first snow event can very well put down some accumulating snow up and down the I-95 corridor from D.C. to Baltimore to Philadelphia to New York City. Certainly a couple of inches are on the table, maybe even a little bit more than that. Beyond that, there's a threat of a second storm forming farther south along this frontal boundary zone later tomorrow, and that could throw some more accumulating snow into the mid-Atlantic region late tomorrow and tomorrow night. A very fluid and complicated weather scenario. We'll kind of try to dissect things over the next few minutes, but of course stay tuned to the SIweather.com all day today. Well, here's the latest radar loop from the Penn State EWOL site for the northeastern part of the country. A dry day today here in the mid-Atlantic region, and very mild, up to 50 degrees in most spots. There is already some precipitation gathering here in the Ohio Valley region associated with that developing storm that'll be the first threat for snow here in the mid-Atlantic region late tonight, early tomorrow. Again, it's very warm today, and it very well should begin as rain later on tonight across the mid-Atlantic region, but then colder air will filter in, and that will likely change over to snow late tonight into the early part of tomorrow. Some accumulations possible associated with this first event. Let's start off by looking at the very latest 12Z NAM model run forecast dealing with this first event late tonight and tomorrow morning. This is the current 500 millibar map, and it just wanted to point out it's ripe with possibilities. There are multiple short waves in the upper part of the atmosphere. Again, this is about the middle part of the atmosphere, 500 millibars, about 18,000 feet up. We have one wave of low pressure here in the center part of the country, another one upstream, and then a stronger one even farther upstream in western Canada. A decent trough already setting up here in the central part of the U.S., but take a look at what happens to this trough by tomorrow afternoon. And here is the forecast map for tomorrow afternoon, again from the very latest 12Z NAM model run. That trough sharpens quite a bit here by tomorrow afternoon. A lot of energy here in the upper part of the atmosphere, and this is beyond the time that first wave of low pressure has an effect, perhaps with accumulating snow here in the mid-Atlantic region. That has already moved by. This would be associated with the potential second storm late tomorrow into tomorrow night as it's rounds out the base of this trough and moves up towards the East Coast. This kind of a sharp upper level trough will allow for cold air to plunge from central Canada all the way down into the deep south. Could be a freeze all the way down into northern Florida tomorrow night and perhaps again Sunday night as that cold air drops way down there. It is a rather progressive upper level trough that will move quickly off the East Coast by early next week, so we'll have some modification on in temperatures come Monday and Tuesday. Well, let's now focus in on this first threat for later on tonight into the early part of tomorrow. This is the 12Z NAM forecast map for this evening about 7 o'clock. Here's the moisture gathering with that first wave of low pressure. Notice the blue line here. It's kind of a rain-snow line dropping down to the southeastern part of Virginia by this time. Cold air is continuing to seep into the mid-Atlantic region. This nonetheless can start off as rain across D.C. and Baltimore late this afternoon or early this evening, and even some rain perhaps across southeastern Pennsylvania at the onset before changing over to snow later on tonight. Let's now jump ahead to later on tonight. This is 6 hours later, about 1 o'clock in the morning. Quite an impressive area of moisture here depicted by the very latest NAM model run. This would produce a few inches of snow, perhaps at least in the I-95 corridor. We'll see what the other model runs do with this first event. Again, this is late tonight, perhaps beginning as rain, changing over to accumulating snow along the I-95 corridor, even all the way down to Baltimore and D.C. late tonight into the early part of tomorrow morning. So this is wave number 1. Let's now jump ahead and investigate the threat for wave number 2. Well, this is from the very latest NAM model run with respect to wave number 2. This is a forecast map for tomorrow evening, about 7 p.m. tomorrow night, Saturday night. A lot of moisture hanging back here in the central part of the Mid-Atlantic region, associated with more low pressure here that's intensifying here. And again, this is the very latest NAM model run. So this is raising a red flag that even after that first wave of low pressure moves on by late tonight, early tomorrow, there's enough energy in that upper level trough that a second storm could develop and throw some accumulating snow back into the Mid-Atlantic region late tomorrow and tomorrow night. In fact, some of the other models are a little bit more bullish than this very latest NAM model run. Let's take a look, for example, at the 0Z Canadian model run. And here's last night's 0Z Canadian model run for tomorrow evening, the 7 p.m. time frame for Saturday evening. And it's got some snow already here along the East Coast, right on the doorstep of the Philadelphia region, D.C. region. Let's take a look. Let's kind of step through this hour by hour. This is, again, last night's Canadian model run. It now has some heavier snow here depicted here across the coastal region, kind of expanding just to the west. This is hour by hour tomorrow night. A very healthy looking storm system just off the Mid-Atlantic coast with snow backing into just on the edge of the big cities here. It certainly raises a red flag that there's still some potential here for snow from that second wave of low pressure late tomorrow and tomorrow night. So a lot going on, not only in the cosmos, but here on Earth. A very interesting, complicated weather pattern for the weekend with 2 threats for snow, accumulating snow, late tonight, early tomorrow, and then a second threat late tomorrow and tomorrow night. Stay tuned for updates on the SI Meteorologist, Paul Dorian.